It was a peaceful summer night in Sandy, Utah. Families were spending time outdoors, children were playing, and everything seemed serene. But on the evening of July 2nd, 2021, all was not well. Masako Yamada Kenley, a mother of four and a 53-year-old woman, had finished work as was her usual practice. She was expected to return home. However, she never arrived. Her vehicle was located in a car park, but Masako was not to be seen. The investigation for her started right away, but what the police discovered the following day was something no one could have anticipated. Masako wasn't missing, she was murdered, and the killer was someone she knew. Masako Yamada Kenley had a simple, happy life. She was 53 years old, a loving wife, and a dedicated mother of four. Originally from Japan, she had lived in Utah for years, building a life filled with family, work, and friends who adored her. She worked at the U.S. Postal Service for nearly 2 decades, always showing up with a warm smile and a strong work ethic. Her days were uneventful. Go to work, come home, hang out with her family. She wasn't the kind of person to just leave without saying a word. So when she failed to return home that Friday night, her family knew something was amiss right away. They called her cell phone. Nothing. Hours went by, and their concern grew into fear. The search for Masako Yamada Kenley mounted as hours turned into a full day. Friends, family, and police scoured desperately, praying she might somehow be safe. But beneath, they hoped the worst. On July 3rd, a day after she disappeared, search crews directed their attention to a region near the Jordan River. Police used cadaver dogs from Rocky Mountain Rescue Dogs Incorporation, which had been trained to find human remains. As the dogs made their way through the dense underbrush along the riverbank, one of them halted abruptly. It had detected something. Minutes later, police discovered what they had feared: Masako's body, covered under thick foliage. She had been intentionally left there, as if her killer had attempted to ensure that she would not be discovered. But even their best efforts were for naught. The news of the discovery was quick to spread and created shockwaves within the community. Masako hadn't simply gone missing, she had been murdered. But why and who? Police didn't need to look too far for clues. A suspect was already in their sights, someone who had been closer to Masako than people may have thought. And before long, the horrific truth of his obsession would be revealed. The search quickly directed police to one suspect, 75-year-old William O'Reilly. To everyone, he appeared just like another retired worker. He had worked for years at the U.S. Postal Service and retired, yet even after retirement, he never seemed to let go. That is because O'Reilly had developed a strong, disturbing obsession with Masako Yamada Kenley. The two were never in the same department, but O'Reilly had managed to remain present in Masako's life. He hung out outside her place of work, called her endlessly, and even appeared at her residence uninvited. In the beginning, it might have been innocent flirting from an ex-colleague, but eventually, Masako's family and friends realized something was amiss. Masako's husband, increasingly worried about the unwanted calls and visits, cautioned O'Reilly to leave her alone, but he ignored him. Instead, his fixation on Masako appeared to intensify. Those who knew her noticed the warning signs, but no one could have imagined how far O'Reilly would take things. As the detectives probed further, they found that Masako's killing wasn't random, but personal. The evidence kept mounting, and it all led directly to O'Reilly. He had been waiting for the right time, and on that day, he made his move. As detectives reconstructed Masako's last hours, evidence against William O'Reilly mounted. This was no act of random violence. Masako had been deliberately targeted, and O'Reilly had gone to great effort to leave nothing behind. The initial strong lead came in the form of Masako's phone records. Police learned that her phone had been switched off manually on the day she disappeared. And not only that, but GPS in her car had also been switched off. Somebody had consciously attempted to destroy all evidence of where she was, and that person was O'Reilly. Security cameras captured Masako getting into a car on the day she disappeared. Police linked the vehicle to O'Reilly. Police searched his car and found yet more incriminating evidence: Masako's own possessions, including her purse and shoes. There was no benign reason why he should have them. Next were the cell phone records. Location tracking indicated that O'Reilly had been in the area where Masako's body was discovered later. His activity tracked almost perfectly with the chronology of her disappearance. When he was confronted, O'Reilly confessed to having disabled Masako's phone and also taken out her car's GPS. But he refused to admit to the killing. He made indirect, contradictory comments, attempting to minimize his role. But by that point, it didn't matter. The evidence against him was overwhelming. Masako hadn't vanished. She had been enticed, muzzled, and concealed. And each shred of proof led to one conclusion: William O'Reilly had plotted this. He had gone to great lengths to make sure Masako wouldn't be discovered, but ultimately, his errors drove police directly into his arms. With his arrest now, the community cried for justice. Yet, for Masako's family, nothing could turn back the clock. With the evidence mounting, police were certain they had enough to arrest someone. William O'Reilly had attempted to cover his tracks, but his own behavior had betrayed him. On July 6, 2021, just days following the discovery of Masako's body, officers closed in. O'Reilly was arrested without a hitch, but when he was questioned, his alibi changed every time. Initially, he claimed he knew nothing. Then he confessed to having been with Masako prior to her vanishing, but said he had nothing to do with her murder. The catch? The evidence told a different story. Prosecutors presented him with the evidence: her phone switched off, her GPS taken out, her items in his vehicle, and his presence close to the scene of the crime. But rather than admit the truth, O'Reilly attempted to spin it, providing cryptic and contradictory answers. Nevertheless, his case was tight. He was formally charged with aggravated murder, desecration of a human corpse, and obstruction of justice. Convicted, he would spend the rest of his life behind bars. For Masako's family, the arrest was welcome relief, but it didn't bring her home. The man who had been little more than an old acquaintance had become a nightmare. Now he would finally face the repercussions of his fixation. The people of Sandy, Utah were shocked. Masako had been a wonderful neighbor, a hardworking employee, and a compassionate friend. Her murder seemed unbelievable. How could this horrible thing happen to such a good person? Friends, co-workers, and even strangers gathered in the days after her death to pay tribute to her memory. Vigils were held, candles were lit, and flowers placed in her memory. A GoFundMe account was created to support Masako's family, specifically to have her family members brought in from Japan for her funeral. The way the love and support came rushing in illustrated exactly how many people's lives she had affected. As for O'Reilly, his trial awaited. Prosecutors branded him as a man consumed by fixation, someone who couldn't fathom the possibility that Masako didn't want him around. His moves weren't impulsive, they were premeditated. If convicted, he could very well spend the remainder of his life behind prison walls. But even with justice meted out, the loss persisted. Masako was supposed to be safe. She was supposed to be able to go to work, return home, and live her life without fear. Instead, she was the victim of a dangerous obsession that took everything from her. Her case is a tragic reminder. Stalking and obsession are never benign, and sometimes dismissing the warning signs can have catastrophic repercussions. What do you think about this case? Let us know in the comments. And if you want more true crime stories like this, don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications. Thanks for watching and stay safe out there.